Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is the Nicholas Prostokis Chelsea Channel, and today is match preview for Chelsea versus Morecambe in the FA Cup third round. This is a result that has happened very recently. Obviously, we won, but big news in the presser for Enzo Maresca, as Lavia and Reece James may or may not get minutes. We know Reece has been back and might have been gotten minutes in the Crystal Palace game, but he didn't. But Romeo Lavia is available to play in this one. Now, the question is, will guys like him get playing time? Will Reece James get starting minutes just to start the game? Will someone like Romeo Lavia get the starting minutes? Not sure. I think I'll talk more in depth about it, but if I had to highlight, I think that there's a good chance they may end up playing just because of their lack of fitness, and this would be a good game just to get them back into the swing of things. But that's just my main thought process with those two guys. There's also been updates talking about Cesare Casade. He won't be included because of a future sale for him. It seems the same with Chilwell. They don't want to get these guys injured, of course, so they will not be included in the lineup. So Chilwell and Casade will not be in. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall is still injured, so he will not be included. A fixture that really screws him in a way because it's a game that he would have played in, and he needs as many games to play in as possible. So he also highlighted that they want to keep Kieran here, which who knows if that's the truth or not. From what it seemed like he's going to leave. It looks like as well, there were two other players I think that they said. It was just Wesley and Benoit. They're also not going to be available, but that was for it. They also asked him questions about recalling Trevoh Chalobah. He said he's a great player, but he's a Palace player. That's probably the response he's going to give. And it was the exact same thing for the rumors about Mark Gahey. It was the exact same two responses. So that was it on that front. So without further ado, let's hop into the lineup. This is the lineup I've gone with. Jorgensen net with Vega, Tosin, Disasi, Reece James, Samuel Raksaki, Romeo Lavia, João Felix, Christo Nkunku, Tyreek George, and Marguiu up top. I've gone with Jorgensen in net, of course, because it's an FA Cup. It's a cup match. It's almost guaranteed that Jorgensen will be the starter unless he thinks that Sanchez is now the cup keeper and Jorgensen's the starter. That's about all I can go off that. So it'll be like a rotation. Of course, Jorgensen played in the match against Ipswich. Then the next game, of course, we had Sanchez play, and now yet again we're going to have Jorgensen, I think, come in. So that's it for that one. Vega comes back into the mix. Of course, there's a lot of news talking about how Vega may be on the move, either whether it be on loan, whether it be sold. I myself came in the mix and said I think he should stay. I think he's going to get rotation time. He even might see times in the Premier League he comes in the play at this point. If we were to suffer more injuries, I definitely can see a way that he ends up becoming a guy who gets more regular time in the first team. Do I think that he's good enough for it? I guess we'd have to see. He's only played one full game as a Premier League player, and that was against Bournemouth. Obviously, we won that game 1-0, and I thought he was the least impressive player in that game, but that's also the first 90 minutes he played for us in the Premier League in his entire career. So you got to give the guy benefit of the doubt. But I think Vega's a very solid left back / center back / center defensive midfielder. I think with playing time, he'll be great. So I think he plays in this one. I have Tosin and Disasi in. Now, Tosin hasn't played in a few games, or I think one game, but guess how Chempong came in for him, and he did well. I think Tosin comes right back in for this FA Cup match. And I think Disasi plays because I think Chempong's going to get another look in the Premier League on Tuesday. I think Disasi, who they've hinted out, they want to sell him, which all fans would love at this point in time if Disasi were to be sold. The players of the club love Disasi. It seems like he's a pretty good team leader there, but he doesn't play like it, and he doesn't play Enzo Maresca's system well, and he's not a good footballer, There were times last season where you were like, wow, Disasi's look pretty good, and yeah, that was in the past. That's in the past. That's just in the past. It's Tosin and Disasi in this one, because you can't make mistakes against a League 2 side, can you? If you make mistakes against a League 2 side, that means you're a League 2 footballer, and that's what Axel Disasi's proved recently. So, as long as he doesn't make mistakes against a League 2 side, it might improve his chances of being sold. So that's it for him. I have Reece James coming back into the mix, because I actually think it's more important for him to play the first 45 minutes of this game, maybe as like a right center back, because if we have Vega invert, we'd have, obviously, James come inside, be that inverted fullback, and he'll come as a third center back. So I think it's better for him to get that PT against a side that it's almost, too easy for him. He's not going to have to move as much. We should have the ball for almost 70% of the game. So it really should be one of these games that Reece James is going to have to try all too hard in. So I think it's a good game for him to at least get 45 minutes, and then you could sub Gusto or maybe a Chempong in a halftime. Something like that. Or even give a youth player a chance, like Richard Olise or something. Like, why not? So I think that's a one you can think about for that. I have the same exact thought process for Romeo Lavia. Romeo Lavia is the exact same, except in the midfield, it's a little bit more bleak. I could see exactly someone like Enzo Fernandez coming in the second half, or I could see Enzo Fernandez starting the game, and then maybe Lavia coming off the bench. I think it could be either one of the two. But I think that Lavia and Reece James both need to get at least some minutes in this game. If it's half of the game, I think players usually are better from the start, from the get-go, than they are to be subbed on in halftime. I think you need to get in the mix in the game instead of picking up the game once after it started. So I think starting from the beginning is from the best bet. So I think Reece and Lavia will get minutes, and then I have Roxaki alongside of Romeo. Of course, Roxaki will be the guy who gets forward more in this one. Lavia will be the guy who gets back more, or Enzo, whoever it may be. I think that Roxaki will be the guy who gets forward more. He really showed some quality minutes in the Conference League, especially when he got that start against Astana. He looked pretty damn good. So I can see a world that Roxaki plays, especially with our limited midfield depth. Guys like Caicedo, I'm sure, is not going to play. There's a chance that Enzo might not even play. So I have these guys in my lineup, but there's a chance that might just be youth players again. There's a really good chance. I mean, we could even see Keanu Dyer in this one. Of course, the U21s played very, very recently, so I'd be decently surprised if he does throw too many of them in the mix, because I think they played, 2 days ago? So they'd have some break, but I think that a certain amount of them had to have been like, okay, you're not going to play that much for the U21 team because you're going to come into this FA Cup game on Saturday. There had to be some kind of thought process about that. But Roxaki I have in this one. I think he's more than good enough to be included in this one. He's definitely good enough to play against League 2 competition after playing very well against Astana. So that's my thought process for that. Joao Felix comes up. I think Joao Felix obviously he didn't start in the last one. Didn't even come off the bench in the last one. So I feel like he comes on the left-hand side in this one. I think it's pretty damn clear he's either not going to play all the time or he's not going to start all the time. So I easily could see a world where he plays on the left, especially with our limited depth there as well. I doubt that someone like, let's say, Mudrik's obviously not included. He's not even a thought at this point in time. Because we need to see what happens with his B sample, but there's nothing that we can do about him right now. Absolutely nothing we can do about him right now. So I think if we're going to have anybody on the left-hand side that's not Joao Felix, it could be Madueke and George put on the left, and then Madueke comes on the right. Neto's not going to be included. These guys might be on the bench, okay? These guys might be on the bench. But it's just pretty clear I think Joao Felix needs the game time, and that'll come for him here in this competition. So he starts in the FA Cup, and Kunku starts behind Guiu. Obviously, there was no questions in the presser about what is going to happen with Nkunku, which I thought was pretty surprising. With all this stuff that's came out saying he doesn't want to, or he might leave, he might be sold this window or in the summer. I think Matt Law said he was guaranteeing it himself. So Christo Nkunku, we'll have to see what happens, but I have him starting. And Maresca has said they love the guy, they know his quality, but this is his best position on the field. This 10 position in behind the striker is his best position. So he'll be in behind for me in this one. I think he'll have a great game, but he's not he's too good of a quality player for these FA Cup games, and he doesn't start in the Premier League games, of course, so he's got to get game time here. George on the right, of course, he's better on the left-hand side, but he did a pretty good job of it on the right when he played against Astana, so I'm going to give him a chance here on the right again. That's just how I think they're going to rotate, and I think that George will probably have to start on the right because of Joao Felix playing on the left, so that's just my thought process there. And then up top, Marc Guiu, of course, he's been brilliant in the Conference League games and most of the games when he's been chosen upon. There's a chance that, he may get more game time in the Premier League soon. Of course, he got brought in for Nico Jackson on the last game against Crystal Palace. So we'll see if that ends up happening, but I definitely have him starting here in the match against Morecambe to beat the Shrimps, of course. So let me know what you guys think. I think we could play our U21 squad, and I think we'd probably win 1-0. But with this team, we should be able to win 5-0, as that is my prediction. A 5-0 victory for Chelsea tomorrow. Of course, it's 10 a.m. here Eastern Time of the United States. But let me know what you guys think, though. Like and subscribe to the channel. Look at the Instagram and TikTok for how long that lasts for. But it's Nicholas Prostakis CFC on those respective channels there. So let me know what you guys think again. See you in the next one. Peace.